Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Arant with Arant Academic Planning, and this is another installment in our virtual information series this summer, where I've been joined by mission representatives from schools all across the United States, Canada, and Europe. And these schools have a lot of different aspects to them. It's differences in terms of size, geographic location, school type. So it could be a liberal arts college, a state research university, a religiously affiliated institution, a women's college, a men's college, and all in between, right? So I'm joined by Stephanie from the College of New Jersey. So I'll go ahead and turn over the reins to you, Stephanie.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. And hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Iacoviello. I am one of the admissions counselors and college ambassador coordinator at the College of New Jersey, TCNJ for short. I also specifically recruit in the states of Pennsylvania and Delaware, along with some counties in New Jersey as well. So before we get into it, just to give you a little scope of the land, these next few slides are a couple of key features and hotspots on our campus that are very visible throughout all of our marketing. Social media and email communications, if you've gotten any from us. This is Green Hall, so this definitely has been shared with almost everyone through every communication. It's right in the heart of campus and in a little square amongst some of our other areas. So it's a very beautiful place to just be outside on campus, but also one of our more prominent buildings on campus. We do have athletics at TCNJ, which I will talk about in a little bit. This is our football field where we have a lot of other events on top of our football games during our fall semester. And this is Eichhoff Dining Hall, which we will talk a little bit about later on. It also serves as one of our residence halls. So the floors that you see above our dining options, those are actually where students are living. So that is another key aspect to this building. But before we kind of get into it, it is really important to kind of talk about campus culture and what is different from community to community as you're going on your search process. And one of the biggest things that we like to start off in sharing with TCNJ specifically is that we are a very unique campus, and it doesn't matter if you are a faculty, a staff member, an adjunct professor, or a student. We really are a family at TCNJ, and you feel that from the moment that you step onto our campus. And we do a very good job at making sure that no two students' journeys are the same because every student has a different journey, different aspirations, different goals, and we make sure we do a very good job at trying to attain them from the moment you start talking to us, whether that's admissions or a coach, or you just came to see a friend one weekend and now you're interested. We try and do our very best to make sure that we individualize the process for each and every one of you, and we make sure we see it throughout your tenure at the college, really making sure that you belong here at TCNJ. So, a little bit about who we are. As you can see from the map, we are right in the heart of the state of New Jersey. So, we are located in Ewing, New Jersey. We are right next to our state capital, which is Trenton. And in our geographical location, we are very, very close to a lot of metropolitan areas, which offer a lot of opportunities for internships, co-ops, part-time, and even full-time job opportunities once that time comes. So, in terms of where we're located, we are about an hour from New York City. We are, depending where in Philly, we are just over the bridge. So, about 45 minutes to an hour, depending where you want to go there. We're a train ride away from DC. Our Trenton Mercer Airport is just about 10 minutes away, and our Hamilton train station is just about 15-20 minutes away. So, we are very accessible for all different types of transportation as well. In terms of institution, who are we? We are one of the public state schools of New Jersey, and we are considered a mid-sized campus. So I'll talk a little bit about numbers in just a moment, but it's very important to kind of take those tactics into your college search process as well in seeing the differences between public and private and colleges and universities alike. Now, even though we are considered a mid-sized campus and we are a public state school, we like to refer to ourselves as a Goldilocks school. So why is that? As you can see by the numbers, we are definitely a more intimate campus. So, in terms of population, we are about 7,300 undergraduate students, and we do have a graduate school at TCNJ. So, we have lots of opportunities for students to continue their education, whether that would be in a master's degree, if they want to get a certificate. And we have those programs often accelerated as well. So, if you are a high school senior looking to apply to TCNJ and stay here for your graduate studies, and you know that from the beginning of your process, you can apply to one of those, for example, 4+1 opportunities or 3+2 programs that we have at TCNJ. Another really key component to us being, even though we are a state school, we offer that private school experience with very intimate classroom sizes. So our average classroom size is about 23 students, and our faculty and staff will know your name. If you come from a smaller high school or you come from a really big high school, but you really want to be a little bit more close-knit in your community and have your professors know your name and so on and so forth, you're going to see that at TCNJ. Even if you had your professor 4 years ago and now you're a senior last semester, they will still recognize you and say hello. And I think that is a very critical piece to talking to not only our classroom culture, but just our campus culture overall. And lastly, our student to faculty ratio being 13 to 1, again, small, close knit, and intimate. Now, to really focus on the two percentages on the left-hand side, these are two key critical points that we feel are important for students, if they haven't already done so, to look into for every institution that they're considering at their college search process. So at TCNJ, we are very, very proud to have two very high percentages in both our 4-year graduation rate and our first-year retention rate. Now, as admissions professionals, we are looking to not only make sure that you are fit to enter the entering class, but making sure that you can make it all the way and graduate. That is our goal, to see you throughout your tenure at the college. So we're very, very proud to have a 76% 4-year graduation rate at TCNJ, and that only attests to all of our support that we give you in the beginning, all the support that our faculty and staff are doing through tutoring and advisement and giving opportunities through our Career Center for internships and so on and so forth. So you will have advisement and support in whatever area you are looking at TCNJ throughout your entire time. And with that being said, that goes hand in hand with our retention rate. So we are very proud to have one of the highest retention rates in the nation, being 91% of our students come back between our first year and second year, which is historically the most popular time for students to leave the institution they initially picked in their high school senior year. So we're very proud of those two percentages and only look to strengthen them as the years go on. So, aside from your academics, what can you do at TCNJ? So, we are a very hands-on campus. So, whether you are looking to do research with your professors or even your classmates, you can do that as soon as you come to campus. We do not have a area where if you are looking to do something that you can't do it. Our professors and our faculty are more than welcoming and more than happy to make those dreams happen for you. So if you are super ambitious and you are ready to go from the moment you come, we can make it happen for you. So you can do that in your classrooms, you can do that outside of your classrooms, you can do that via independent studies, or we have what is called the Muse program, which is our mentored undergraduate summer program. And it's actually a stipend program for a few weeks in the summer where you'll be able to work on specifically this specific research and possibly even present it not only to the TCNJ community, but in conferences and competitions. So not only are our students doing this, but some of them are also being published as well. So they're being able to get their name out there even before a degree is obtained. So it's really, really great opportunities that you are getting at an undergraduate level, which are typically reserved for students in graduate studies. That being said, earlier I mentioned the Career Center. So we have a lot of support that I personally strongly recommend that students take as soon as they get to campus. So one of the best tips of advice that I got going into college was get acclimated to that as soon as you get to campus so you can get your feet wet. Look at what a job fair might look like. Go look at a resume workshop. Even if you're just starting to build your resume, get familiar with the terminology, get familiar with what employers are looking for. And employers are looking for TCNJ grads. So every semester we have an internship and career fair on our campus, in our student center, and some other areas on campus as well. And we have everything from internships to co-ops to part-time jobs and then full-time job employment opportunities that students are just going straight to our student center and meeting their future supervisors and their future employers. And internships are a great way to get started, and you can start applying for those again in your first year. And oftentimes they are paid, and that is another great opportunity to get compensation while you're also in college. Leadership is and community service are two aspects that we're really going to talk about when we talk about our application process. However, it does not stop once you come to campus. So we are going to look to strengthen those bonds in leadership, in public speaking, in working with peers and professionals, and also giving back to our community. So if you ever come to campus and you walk through our campus, you're going to see a lot of families, a lot of pets, a lot of children. You're going to see that we are very engaged with our campus community and we have a lot to give and we also give back. So that is something that we have already built into all of our first year students' schedules to give about a few hours back to our community in something that they're passionate about. And lastly, we have studying abroad opportunities. So if you want to study abroad, this is a great opportunity to. Most importantly, I will leave you with your financial aid and scholarships will follow you anywhere in the world that you go. So you can go to Italy or Japan or Spain and your financial aid and scholarships will follow you anywhere you go. And the time that you are away is also very flexible. So you can go away for anywhere between a week to 3 weeks, or you can go away for an entire semester or even an entire year. We've had some students do that as well. So you will have an advisor specifically for studying abroad who will work not only with you, but with your academic advisors to make sure everything from point A to point Z is completed and everything looks good. You're staying on track for graduation. You're taking classes that are necessary and needed for your transcript, and then also getting that very remarkable experience. So now we're going to go into what does TCNJ have to offer in terms of academics. So you are looking here at our 7 academic schools, and they consist of our School of Arts and Communication, our School of Business, School of Education, School of Engineering, School of Humanities and Social Sciences, School of Nursing and Health Sciences, and our School of Science, in which we have a total of 160 plus programs that we have to offer at TCNJ. So over 50 plus majors, all of which have minors and certifications that you can choose from. I strongly encourage you, if you have a moment, to look at programs.tcnj.edu. This will be a perfect opportunity to see everything that we have to offer under all of our schools here. Now, just to kind of break down a little bit of what you see on the screen here today, next to our School of Arts and Engineering, Business, and HSS schools, you see a little asterisk. This asterisk indicates that we have a undeclared program specifically within that school. And this acts a little bit different than our undeclared general program. So the main difference between these two is, let's say, for example, I want to go into the School of Arts and Communication, but I'm not entirely sure what major suits me, but I know that this is the theme and this is kind of the career path that I want to go into. I can apply undeclared within the School of Arts and Com. If I'm accepted, I can already secure a seat in that school, an advisor from that school, and now I will be aiming to declare a major from within. opposed to our undeclared general program, which let's say I'm passionate about three out of the seven schools, and I'm not really sure where I want to go, but I really, really want to come to TCNJ, and I know that with the advisement and the courses here, I'm going to be able to pick my major. I can apply undeclared general, and within the first 2 years, I will be able to declare a major from there. And I will have advisement, and these advisors are specifically trained and are specializing in helping students still take courses that are applicable to graduation, but really focusing on, okay, these are your strengths, and this is where you want to go. This is where we can kind of lead your first few classes into helping you decide where you want to ultimately declare your major in. And at the bottom right, you're going to see a plethora of unique program opportunities that we have at TCNJ. So we have a 7-year BSMD program, a 7-year optometry program, a 3+4 PT program with Thomas Jefferson University. We have an 8-year pharmacy program. We have 2 tracks for our MBA, which is a 4+1 accelerated program at TCNJ. We have a 4+2 speech pathology program. We have a plethora of 3-year bachelor degree programs in our School of Humanities and Social Sciences. We have a 3+3 affiliation agreement with Villanova University. And we also have two 3+2 opportunities in our clinical mental health counseling psychology program and also school counseling psychology program as well. So all of that is at TCNJ. So all of those programs are some offerings at the college. And again, all of them are listed on our website for you to kind of look through in greater detail. Now, what can you do outside of the classroom? So at TCNJ, we have a very robust living on campus experience. So most of our students are living on campus. So if you are worried about finding community or people staying on the weekends, that happens at TCNJ. Students are here, students are involved, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And most importantly, at TCNJ, you have a lot of flexibility in terms of where you can live and who you can live with as early as the moment you get onto campus. So at TCNJ, we do have a first year living requirement, which means you are expected and required to live on campus during your first year. However, we do have an appeal and exemption process if needed for students, and those qualifications are on our resident housing website. But as a first year student, you have the option to live in 5 different residence halls, one of which is a suite style, and some of them are air conditioned. So one of them is already air conditioned as we speak right now, and the others are going to start getting air conditioned as of this summer. So within the next few months to when this is being recorded. And in terms of other living options, we, as you can see, as you go up in academic year, you have more options such as our townhouse and apartment styles. But even as a first year student, you have the option to live in what is called campus town. So that is at the front of campus. It is on our property. It's facilitated and policed by TCNJ faculty and TCNJ campus police. And that is only for TCNJ students to live there. So first year, second year, third year, or senior year, you have the option to live in those apartments as well. As I mentioned, we are a heavily involved campus, and it's a very beautiful thing to sit and say that about 87% of our student body is involved in something. So we have everything from club and intramural sports. We have over 230 plus clubs and orgs on our campus, everything from hobbies to student government to what we call TCNJ Cub, which is our college union board, which hosts events, shows. We have comedians, we have artists come to campus and perform, and that is an option for students to attend. And there is a lot going on every single week on our campus. We also have Greek life, everything from social, multicultural, professional development, community service-based, and more. So there is a lot of opportunities there. And we are D3 in athletics. So we have 18 varsity sports split between the men and the women. These are the sports for both the men and the women. And again, we do have club and intramural sports as well. So if you don't see your sport here, don't worry. We may have it at a club or intramural level, and you can see that on our website. So just a few to mention here that are very, very popular on our campus, for example, is volleyball. That is very popular, and rugby is popular as well. So those are just a few, some of other sports that are offered at TCNJ that's not listed at the D3 level. Now, if all of this sounds interesting to you and you're wondering, okay, TCNJ is on my list, how do I start? We are going to talk a little bit about our application and admission process. So, we are on the Common App for the application. So historically, our application opens up every August 1st, and we will send out notifications. We will post it on our website and our social media accounts. And there's two ways that you can apply to TCNJ. So the two kind of buckets that you would fall into is either a first year student or a transfer student. So if you are a first year student, you are most likely coming right out of high school in your senior year. You're applying to colleges, or you have never attended any other college and you are coming for the first time. So that you would fall on our first year bucket. Now, we have a lot of opportunities to apply to TCNJ as a first year student. So, we have three different avenues, being early action, early decision, and general admission. So, early action, this past applicant cycle was actually the first cycle that we ever offered early action at TCNJ, and it was very, very popular. This has the exact same deadline to apply as early decision. However, there is a big, big difference between the two. So the biggest difference is early decision is binding. So you can only apply early decision to one school in the entire nation. And if you apply ED, you are committing yourself to that school. So should you be accepted, we are expecting a deposit, and that is where your search ends at that point. If you do not want that binding agreement, that is okay. You have the option to apply early action or general admission to TCNJ, and this is very different from school to school. So, early action, apply November 1st. You will get your decision on or before January 15th. Early decision, apply by November 1st. You will get your decision on or before December 1st. General admission, you apply by February 1st. Again, there's no restrictions, no commitment there, and you will get your decision on or before April 1st. Also new for this previous applicant cycle, we had a priority scholarship deadline. So you would have needed to apply in any avenue prior to January 1st to be considered for your scholarship. And at TCNJ, we automatically review students for merit scholarships based on their high school percentile and GPA ranking. And we get that information from the school counseling office as well. So we will get all that information and automatically review you for scholarships. If you are a transfer student, if you are coming from a 2-year school, 4-year school, if you've done one semester and you're looking to make the change, you can apply to TCNJ again on the Common App. And if you are looking to apply for that following spring semester, you would apply by November 1st. Or if you're looking for the following fall semester, you would apply by March 1st. At TCNJ, we have a holistic reviewing process as well. So everything on the left-hand side of the screen is what we review in order to make a decision on our applications. So first, of course, we're going to take a look at that transcript. We want to see rigor. Any APs, honors, IBs, dual enrollment. If you're leaving part-time for an internship, we want to see that. We want to see you challenging yourself. However, we also want to see you academically succeeding. So just be mindful of what you are capable of doing, and we'd rather see you take a few rigorous classes and get A's and B's than taking all APs, but you're failing or just making it in them. So just make sure you are cognizant of your academic abilities. Demonstrated interest is a huge one for us at TCNJ. We want to see that you are interested in us. We want to see you coming to campus, attending virtual sessions, contacting admissions counselors, coming to an open house. Anything you do, even down to a phone call or an email, is tracked with us at TCNJ. So definitely make your interest known. We'd love to get to know you, and we'd absolutely encourage you to come to campus if you're interested. We also, again, tying back to that leadership and community service, we want to take a look at who you are as an individual outside of the numbers, outside of the classroom. Are you a captain of a sports team? Are you volunteering at the hospital? Are you part of a religious organization that you are doing every single week? Are you working part-time to support your family? We definitely want to get to know you as an individual as much as possible. We do not have admission interviews part of our traditional application process, except for a few of our 7-year programs. So these are really the opportunities for us to get to know you. So we want to get to see as much as possible on that resume that best describes who you are. Recommendation letters, we would recommend about three, one from your school counselor, one from a teacher of your choice, and one from maybe a coach, a manager, another teacher that you're very close to, just no family or friends. Your application essay, we do read from top to bottom, so we definitely encourage some thought and proofreading to be put into your essay. Again, because we do not have interviews as part of our application process and reviewing process, this is really another option and the only other way that we can get to know you if we're not in constant communication with you via email or phone call. So really put your all in there, be as genuine as possible. Again, super important to have someone other than yourself proofread the essay just to be sure that there's nothing that needs to be changed or revised. And again, be genuine. You can have prompts, you can have people supporting you, but we really want to get to know you, and you're the only person who knows you the best. So definitely give us your all. And lastly, we're going to take a look at your primary and secondary majors. So you'll have two options to select two different programming or the exact same major in both those categories. And that allows us to know what you are interested in. We will always try to admit you into your primary major. If for whatever reason you do not meet the qualifications for that major, then we will talk about looking at your secondary major and go ahead and confirm that choice for you as well. So those are all the criterias that we look at. We are test optional currently as an institution for everything except our 7-year BSMD program, our 7-year optometry program, and our nursing program. If you are applying to any of our art majors or music majors, a portfolio can be required, and it is optional for most of our majors, and an audition is required for our music majors. Because we are in the state of New Jersey, this is very specific to New Jersey schools. We are part of the Educational Opportunity Fund, and this, if you are coming from out of state, unfortunately, you do not qualify. This is for in-state residents only, but this is an opportunity not only for financial support, but also for extra advisement on our campus. So this is an income-based driven program, so it is going to require supplemental documents and application, which will include tax documents, household verification, and stuff of that sort. So if you are interested in being reviewed for our EOF program, we recommend toggling the EOF. I would like to be considered, excuse me, for the EOF program on the Common App, and that would help speed up the process in us getting the required documents needed for that. And as mentioned, any dual degree programs, such as our 7-year BSMD program, you would need supplemental applications to be completed and or interviews, and we will tell you all of that in what you need on our applicant portal when you apply. This is our website, admissions.tcnj.edu. We strongly encourage you to get familiar with that website if you want to come to campus, see any updates, or just get to know us a little bit more as a staff and at TCNJ and kind of how our process works. So again, admissions.tcnj.edu, that is where you would like to go for that. And definitely I would recommend looking at social media. So all of our social media throughout campus for our club, clubs, orgs, athletics, admissions, or anything, dining, you'll be able to see a lot about our campus culture and community there. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. Um, Instagram and then TikTok as well. So if you are interested, definitely recommend checking us out there. But that concludes my presentation. Matthew, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Yes, thank you very much, Stephanie. Can you go back to the slide that has all the academic programs, please?
Yes.
There we go. So just when you mentioned kind of the difference between the colleges that have the asterisk versus not, right? So if hypothetically speaking, if I was a student really interested in public health, but also economics. What would
Mhm.
I, what would I do in terms of applying to? Would I apply to the non-asterisk or like how would that work if you have interests, you have specific interests, but they lie in different colleges as opposed to just being undeclared in general?
Yeah, so I think that would be very dependent on the student and what their interests if they have more of an interest to one or the
Okay.
other, because they do have the opportunity to double major. So
Mhm.
if that is the case and they have one that's stronger than the other, we would recommend to apply to the one that is stronger, or if they really are torn, to apply undeclared general first, so
Okay.
they can take courses that are kind of applicable to both, and then declare, and then possibly add either the other major or a minor.
Okay. And what would happen if you applied originally to one college and you get admitted and you're on campus and you feel like, oh, I think I made the wrong choice, but I still want to be. How does that work? Because I know you can major in a lot of different things. So I was wondering, how does that exist with these different colleges? Is there a process you have to go through to transfer out of, let's just say, the arts and communications college to humanities and social sciences, for example? How would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what's unique about TCNJ is even though they're different schools, it's all one application process. So
Yeah.
you're not
Okay.
necessarily applying to like a whole other college per se, as it may
Hmm.
be in other schools. So if you come to campus and you say, nope, this is not the major for me, this is not the school for me, and I want to jump to a different school, there is an internal process where you're working with the academic advisors, you're filling
Okay.
out some paperwork, and as long as it's not any of our dual degree programs, which are at the bottom right,
Yeah.
or nursing, then more often than not, it is doable as long as there is a seat available. And we always recommend, if it is possible, the earlier the better. So we're not
Hmm.
elongating the graduation time. But at bare minimum, all TCJ students are completing the college core. So those courses are going to be filled a little bit sooner in the first semesters, and then also while dabbling into their major specific content.
Okay. And then one final academic related question. So, like you mentioned, the bottom right has all of those combinations, right? A lot of
Mhm.
different mathematical expressions, a plus one, plus two, and all that. And
Yes.
and you also mentioned that for the test optional piece, it's largely all those we see on the screen except for those dual degree, correct?
Except for two of them. Or so one is nursing, which
Hmm.
is our 4-year program,
Yeah.
and then our 7-year BSMD, which is the first one, and then our 7-year optometry, which is the
Okay.
second one.
So for those three, do you have can you share with us a sense of what that score range, SAT or ACT would be? Because I always hear about BSMD programs being extremely competitive because they're intentionally smaller and you're combining all this into one under one roof.
Yes.
So what is that, I guess from the strictly a number standpoint for those three
Yes.
programs, like what's an ideal range ACT and SAT for those?
Yes. So for the 7-year BSMD program, that is going to be a minimum of a 1500 no super scoring.
Okay.
And then yes, so it is very competitive. We also like to see APs in like the math and the sciences for that as well. And for that program, it is interviews required. For our
Mhm.
nursing program, it's a minimum currently, and we review all of this every summer. So
Yeah.
if there is any updates, we will let everyone know. But currently, this past cycle, we had nursing as a minimum of a 1200 SAT,
Okay.
and there was no rule in terms of super scoring.
Yeah.
So, but again, we're going to heavily take a look at those math and science scores as well.
Okay. And then one final question, kind of more of like the campus environment and general location. So you mentioned you showed the slide that had Ewing kind of in the middle of everything, right? So it's
Yeah.
right in Trenton's backyard. It's close to New York. It's close to Philly. It's accessible to DC and Boston with by a train. In
Mhm.
terms of like right in your backyard school wise, how often do students do the internships or co-ops or employment even, as opposed to just going up to New York or down to Philly for those opportunities? How does that look from like a local standpoint for those students?
Yeah, it's very accessible. So, we are just about 15 minutes away from Princeton, New Jersey. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of companies and private practices right along that strip. I mean, Mercer County, Monmouth County, Burlington, we are pretty much around all of it. And I mean, we are in Mercer County, and there's so many offices and hospitals. We are in a really good spot, especially for public health and nursing majors, that they will
Hmm.
go all over the state for their clinical experiences, but there's so much just in the middle of the state that they can go to. So I would say we have a pretty good split of those who kind of want to spread their wings and really go far. I mean, some students even go so far as to California when they're done with their studies at TCNJ for experiences there. But we have many students that are staying local, and then oftentimes we'll take the summer and stay local and then just come right back on campus in the fall. So we
Okay.
have a lot in our neighboring areas.
And then one final question, sorry. So
No, it's
thinking
okay.
about where your students are coming from, right? So it's a public school in the Northeast. Is the vast majority of your current students from New Jersey, or is it because it is close to so many other states? Do you have folks from Pennsylvania, Delaware, New York, et cetera? Or is it very much a New Jersey college, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Yeah. This is like my favorite question because I am on the out-of-state team. So, we are predominantly New Jersey residents. However, we do have, and in the past, I want to say 5 years, we have grown tremendously in our out-of-state population. So,
Mhm.
in the past few years, we've hovered anywhere between 5 to about 7% out-of-state students, from year to year. So, we are percentage wise on the smaller side. However, at TCNJ, it's very different because we aren't like some of the schools where you come from in terms of the state is like kind of right on your forehead. Everyone kind of just seems like they are from the same area. In terms of if you are out of state, you aren't feeling like you're outnumbered. If you're a transfer student, you're not feeling it, you're outnumbered. Everyone kind of sees each other as a TCNJ student, which is really nice. We do take in a lot of students from Pennsylvania over New York just because of our
Yeah.
proximity to Bucks County,
Hmm.
which is our most popular Pennsylvania county that we take students in from. But yeah, I would say students who have come from out of state, and we've represented almost all of the states at this point, at TCNJ, say that they don't feel like they are outcasted at any point, which is really great and promising to hear.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I think behalf on Stephanie and myself, thank you for tuning in. I hope this was illuminating. It kind of shows you if you've never heard of TC&J before. I hope it kind of shows you what a medium-sized public college can offer. And if you've have known about it already, the slideshow showed you the website, so feel free to connect with Stephanie and her colleagues at TCNJ there. But like so on behalf of on Stephanie and myself, thank you for joining us this evening.